to Josh Cohen, OrlandoMagic.com.
Hey, Mo. Were you able to tell through one scrimmage game how the added muscle weight was able to help you with your overall game, whether it was, boxing out for rebounds, playing defense, or whatnot?
Yes and no. And I say that because it was such a small sample size. But I think I'll be able to tell as this unfolds more.
Dante Marchitelli, Fox Sports Florida.
Hey, Mo, good to see you. You look good. From what I understand, everybody was able to practice today. You had all your guys back. Jonathan was out there, Jay, Markel. How did it feel just to kind of have the whole group out there going through what was kind of a normal practice for you?
It was great. Yesterday we had a really good practice. It wasn't as much contact as today. We know that moving forward, we're not going to have many opportunities to play against each other in practices. So we just got to lock in and do what we can, do diligence in film.
Eric Wilson, 1070 The Zone.
Hey, Mo, appreciate your time. So I just wanted to ask you, personally, how are you feeling? Because this is really the first time you played against somebody else. Being at this weight and conditioning yourself physically, how do you feel?
I feel good. Still got a ways to go as far as getting more reps and getting my legs under me, but I feel good.
Roy Perry, Orlando Sentinel.
Hey, Mo, it's good to see you. What do you feel like are the areas that you feel like you're really progressing in as you're playing at this new weight? And what areas do you really feel like, it's really a lot more work for you at this point?
I think one area that I've progressed the most in the last month or so was just the X and O's. Spent a lot of time going over film, spent a lot of time going over our playbook while at home on my free time. And it just feels good to know exactly where to be and when to be.
Dan Savage, OrlandoMagic.com.
Kind of building off that, Mo, Cliff said you guys spent a lot of time today on defensive coverages and rotations. How critical is the communication piece as a part of that? And, how comfortable do you feel you're getting as a communicator on the defensive end as well?
Yeah, defense for me is my calling card. My teammates got to know that I'm the anchor on defense, and they need to hear me nonstop. Cliff, he echoes that as much as he can. And whenever we're on one level of communication on defense, I think we play really well.
Go ahead, Dan. Your hand's still raised?
Yeah, and Mo, just to expand on that, with two scrimmage, games left, what are you really hoping to get a flow going as you guys head into these 8 seeding games?
Just to get back on the groove. We just need to get back to where we were playing. Coach always says that our offense was really starting to take off, and just got to do the same thing with our defense. But just getting back in the groove and getting back into game shape.
Josh Robbins, The Athletic.
Well, I'm curious, how do you deal with the frustration of having limited minutes as you work your way to getting used to playing with the added weight and muscle and off the hiatus?
It's very frustrating. But at the same time, I know you got to be patient and do things the right way.
How much are you being told that this is an attempt to keep you healthy for your entire career? And how are you able to use that as a way to kind of curb the frustration?
It feels good to be in an organization where everyone cares about you. They really care about my well-being, but at the same time, we're all basketball players, and we all signed up for this. And at this point, I'm just ready to go.
David Steele, Fox Sports Florida.
Mo, do you prefer any specific style of play? Do you feel like you thrive better in an up-tempo or in more of a half-court game? Where are you most comfortable right now in terms of the kind of basketball you'd like to play or you feel like you're best at?
I like to think of myself as multidimensional. Whenever we're in a half court, I try to space as much as possible. Whenever we're in a full court, I try to put as much pressure on the rim as possible and mix it up. Sometimes you see me flare more, sometimes you see me roll more than that. that flair. It's all about knowing who you're playing against and knowing who you're playing with.
Back to Dante.
Mo, did you guys talk about the gym itself? I mean, it had to be a little bit strange playing in that environment. Evan just told us he heard the basketball dribbling during his free throw. Were there things you heard that you don't normally hear? What was your overall thoughts on that first game?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that you hear that you don't normally hear. One thing that you don't normally hear is complete silence. Free throws is the most awkward of them all because it's just you in the hoop. It feels like you're in a gym by yourself. But I'd say it's a different perspective than on TV. I watched all of the scrimmages, and I think there's like you can kind of hear like a crowd or whatever. But when you're actually in the gym, it's just dead silent. And, you got to be a good teammate and make sure your teammates know that you got their back as far as cheering for them or telling them where to be.
Any other questions for Mo Bamba? Jamie Say, Channel 6.
Hey, Mo, just kind of along that line about, making sure your teammates know that they're there for you. Evan had talked about kind of the challenges that the bench seating is spaced out. Does that hamper communication at all? Does that hamper kind of rallying cries and stuff like that? What were your thoughts on that?
I'm glad that you mentioned Evan. I just want to give him a little bit of praise on how good of a veteran that he is. He's super professional. He communicates as much. And I tell him before every game, before every tip, I was like, just be our heart and soul. Never really wears his emotion on his sleeve. So I just want to give him a little bit of props for not only being a good vet, but just taking care of me. But I'm sorry, what was your question?
Actually, now I have another question too, but my question before that was just, the communication on the bench, because you guys are spaced out. Does that hamper it all? Does it hamper the communication? Does it hamper kind of, the rah-rah, the rallying cries and stuff like that?
Not necessarily. It honestly, for me, and some other players might share different thoughts, but to me, I focus more on the game this way. There's almost very little distractions, and you can hear things loud and clear.
And then my second question, since you talked about Evan, Coach Cliff said that he was really vocal in practice today. Talking specifically about defense. How valuable was that today, and how valuable will his input be, going forward as you guys kind of get back into things defensively?
Yeah, he was amazing today, but this just wasn't a one-day thing for Evan. Even when Evan's not necessarily making shots, he's talking to us, his teammates, about how to better position ourselves to help each other out. But it's an everyday thing for Evan and even a few other guys on the team.
Hey, Mo, thank you.